Oh, yeah. All right. Putting on the shades, cause we're cool. We're cool. We are cool. You are so cool. Cool guys listening to The Cool Show with cool guys. It's a cool show that's gone to 100 episodes. Yes, this is the 100th episode of Sonic Weekly. If you're joining us for the first time or the 100th time, thank you for doing so. Welcome to the show. We are Team Sonic Weekly. I am Grant, one of your hosts. With me, as usual, and this week is Bo. Hi, Bo.
Speed me up. Hey, I can't believe it's been 100 episodes. Or, actually, I can believe it. That sounds actually about right.
It seems like it's been exactly that amount of time, yeah. And out of the shadows into the spotlight is the star of our lives and the show, David the Lurker.
Whoa, hi, Grant. Hi, Bo. That's right. 100 episodes. Right. This counts, of course, the week that we did two. It was 2 and 1. So it's 99 weeks, 100 episodes. But not to confuse anyone, I guess this is the 100th episode, which means we'll have 100 more and then 50 more, and then we'll reboot it. Well, actually, no, we'll get to 290, then we'll reboot it, and we'll be on a different.
We'll do a new number 1.
Uh-huh.
Right. And then we'll pick up back with the original numbering when it's time for like an anniversary. So when it's time for like 300, but then when it will be like, oh, nobody wants to like listen to 312. Right. So we'll go back to number 1 and then we'll get to, and so on.
I see.
And that's how they do it with comic books. And comic books also have editors. And so does this show. This show has an editor, and this show would not have made it to 100 episodes without the work, talent, dedication of Smoovies, who's also our guest this week. Hi again, Smoovies.
Whoa, Smoovies, edit that out.
That's the catchphrase that our listeners are not privy to, and sometimes they are privy to.
Right.
Sometimes you do keep those in.
I mean, if they're funny, then I completely ignore your request or advice and just leave it in.
Wow.
Yeah, that's fair. I think
we respect your editorial judgment.
Yeah.
When you left in my social security number that one time, it was for the sake of comedy.
Yeah.
Listen,
it doesn't matter anymore.
No.
It starts with the funniest number 6, right? Comedians say that's the funniest number.
Is it? Is it because it goes to 9 after that?
It's the sound it makes, 6. Apparently that's funny. I don't know.
What's the funniest word?
Honestly, what's weird is the funniest word is 7. You're not going to, I swear to God, though. That's
is that
so
a real
true.
Thing?
Yeah. No, I'm just making that
Grant's
up.
a professional comedian.
That's right. You've done comedy in front of people. Like live
I've done
audiences.
comedy in front of people. I have rubbed elbows with famous comedians. I have been yelled at by famous comedians. Who? Well, you'll have to sign up for our Patreon to learn what slurs I've been privy to hearing famous comedians saying when they should not have been saying those things.
Whoa.
Hey, anyway, this is also a weekly show, so it's a special episode, but it's also business as usual, and we do have exciting Sonic news, and it ties in pretty well with our guest because longtime listeners know that Smoovies is the expert of the Babylonian rogues lore, the lore of Babylonia. I don't see. That's not even right. Like it's not Babylonia that they're from. They're from Babylon. Just Babylon.
They're from space.
Okay, they're from space.
They were born in Babylonia, but then they moved to Arizona, I believe.
I think I was off when you guys discussed this, but I always think about in reggae songs, there's kind of this theme that Babylon just means like the bad parts of the world. And so like if something negative happens, you can blame it on Babylon. And this is like a constant through reggae music, and maybe they're channeling that with Jeff the Hawk and such.
Because he's a rude boy.
He's a rude boy. Yes.
They should have made "Catch Me If You Can" a reggae song. Missed opportunity.
Well,
I would love more Sonic reggae songs. There's not a good one.
No,
there is not.
There's some killer ska songs,
but there could be.
Right.
Sonic 06 has Town Mission number 3.
Yep.
Metal Harbor is more of a modern ska, but yeah.
You'd think there would be more crossover because there are a lot of horn-focused Sonic songs and a lot of guitar-centric Sonic songs, but they don't always cross over. They don't always cross those worlds.
Speaking of,
Metal Harbor.
Hey, speaking of, David,
Whoa!
Metal Harbor, CrossWorlds. I don't know if you know, but today, the day we're recording this, was the state of play.
Oh.
And Sonic Racing CrossWorlds got a full ass trailer.
That's right, Grant. We saw a full trailer, a full minute 40?
minute 35.
35. Yeah. I was off slightly. A full minute 35. We got to see, it wasn't just CG. No. We got to see a bit of CG, but then we also saw plenty of footage that happens in game. It starts with Sonic and his friends and a couple enemies. Whoa, driving in a super fancy stadium. What happens? You see a giant ring. They go through that giant ring. Dinosaurs. That's what happens. That's right.
It's a jungle.
Dino, it's a jungle.
The jungle.
Yeah. Do you think they're going to reuse that song?
2 Secret Rings stages, David.
That's
the Dino jungle and the pirate ship that's sinking.
Pirate Cove? Pirate Bay? I don't know. When I first saw the pirate ship, I got a little scared and thought it was Sonic Prime. Yeah. I was like, oh no, they're doing it. It's happening. I can't handle this. But no, instead it's more Secret Rings representation, which is unexpected, but for a certain subset of Sonic fans, they are losing their losing their shit.
Yeah, and this game is definitely
like call Jack right now and just get his reaction.
Oh yeah, he's like, whoa,
because this is definitely a game that is very hyper specific in who it's targeting, because it's like we've got all the fan favorites. We've got Jet the Hawk. We've got King Dodonpa.
Whoa,
we've got
right.
We've got Vector.
Ooh.
And maybe Espeon. And actually, if you look deeper, we've got Espeon, we've got Charmy,
right?
And yeah, we've got Secret Rings.
Right. So we got the usual Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy. Here's some more. Right. Omega, Rouge, Vector, Espio, Charmy, Jet, Wave, Storm, Metal Sonic, Cream, Blaze, Zavik, Eggpod, Sage. That's right. Sage is here. That means it's post Frontiers, and of course, Zaz. We've got Zaz.
There's a ska song in Lost World too.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the name of the Lost World ska song?
Oh, it's one of the Deadly Six themes.
Oh yeah, I think it's Zaz.
It might be.
I feel like it's like maybe the theme of all 6 of them. Listeners will fact check this.
Well, the important thing is that Zaz, by popular demand, is in Sonic Racing CrossWorlds, King Dodonpa,
right?
Jet the Hawk. So, if you are a fan of obscure, but not that obscure, characters, because we're not getting into Professor Boobowski.
Characters with recently importable assets.
Yes, and Sage.
Right. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we find out the classic characters are in here. They did model the Sonic Drift car for Sonic Racing on iOS, Apple Arcade. So there's the potential to drag out some superstars.
Yeah, the Apple Arcade Sonic Racing has classic Sonic and has a number of racers that and racer alt skins and such. So I wonder, and a lot of people were speculating that we might see IDW characters like Tangle and Whisper. Not the case here. There was speculation and still some. It's not confirmed one way or the other that there are definitely going to be other Sega IP in there. There is some copy on one of the websites that seems suggestive that yes, there is, but in the trailer, there's not anything definitive. It sure looks like they're using the Afterburner assets, but they're combining it with the Metal Harbor music, and they're saying this airplane carrier is Metal Harbor. It's not Afterburner. We know it looks like Afterburner, but see the gun logo? Look at the gun logo. It is, in fact, Metal Harbor.
It's definitely Afterburner. There's also a Galaxy Force 2 looking stage.
What is the Galaxy Force 2 looking stage?
The like lava thing.
What?
Oh, the
like
lava
with
thing with like the lava dragon.
Yeah.
Right.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the screenshots that they released.
Why would that be one of the only Sega things? Some obscure reference to.
This is all obscure references,
right? It is.
If there's going to be a Sega reference, it's going to be big and overt. They're not going to Galaxy Force. What game are you even talking about? I mean, I agree that there are some things in there that are new, like for example, the squid that was not literally in the Secret Rings level, and some of the items and power ups seem like slime. I don't know if that's a reference to a particular Sega slime, but I think if there are Sega characters, they're going to make it very overt, and I don't think we'll be guessing. The lava one looked maybe like an asteroid coaster, maybe like a I don't even know. But if it's Galaxy, if it comes out that it's Galaxy Quest 2, we'll come back to this and give you
that take is
all
not
the
unique to
roses.
me. It's Tails channel, long time Sonic News breakers. Had that
Tails channel is saying it's Galaxy Force.
Yeah, 2.
Are they saying it just looks like it, or are they saying it definitely is?
I think it looks like it.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, one that we
I just
definitely
think it's a bit
know.
of a stretch.
Yeah. Well, while you look that up, definitely one of the ones we know is Water Palace.
Yes.
Sonic Rush. They're actually diving into the Rushiverse, which is unusual, unexpected. But I mean, it does seem like they're willing to reach into places that they haven't in a while. I mean, there's Secret Rings representation. There is Sonic Adventure 2 representation. I know we see Metal Harbor, but spoilers. If you haven't read the online manual, there's a screenshot of Amy in Radical Highway. So,
Oh,
yeah,
bringing that back.
Whoa, radical.
Right. Yes. So we're getting some things. It looks like it could be fun. I know I don't get super excited about the racing games just because it's like, oh, okay. This would be, I think is this the 10th one?
10th racer, starting with Sonic Drift, or are you going back to Patrol Car?
Oh, I wouldn't call Patrol Car a racer because who are you racing?
You're not really racing.
Yeah. No, the Drift 1 and 2 are the Riders trilogy, the 2 Sega and Sonic All-Stars, Team Sonic Racing, that's 9. If you count the Apple Arcade game, that would be 10, and this would be 11, but that's if you want to count it as a separate entity or just an extension of Team Sonic Racing. So
I think they peaked too early in the last wave of games. Like Transformed is so good, and the only problem with Team Sonic Racing is that it's not as good as Transformed. Like if they'd come out in reverse order, would have been very happy.
all right.
I think this is kind of an effort to correct that. This feels a little straightforward.
Feels like we're doing Transformed again to me.
Yeah, I would say it's kind of like the Shadow generations of the previous racers, where it's like mixing them together to make a more accessible version of Transformed, which is, I guess, depending on your count, 2 generations old.
Oh God, yeah.
Right, because the Extreme Gear is back, and what's interesting is that they're having a play test only on the PS5, but they've said outright none of the Extreme Gear is there, so you have to wait, which implies it's going to function differently. It's not just, oh, it feels like a car. And we do see tricks in the footage, but then also the other vehicles are doing flips and stuff. So who knows exactly what's going on there, but I think you're right. It is sort of a marriage of previous things going into it. Secretly, I hope there's a mode where they're just on foot. Like, if they do that, I think it would be the complete package. But I'm not going to hold my breath for that.
Yeah, I feel like we just have to keep our expectations really in check on this one. I think and we don't know if it is or is not Sumo Digital who produced the previous ones. I feel like we don't know. I remember that there was a gaming leak on the subreddit, the Gaming's Leaks subreddit, and then it was reported around as news by the various blogs that do that said that it's not Sumo, that it's an internal Sega team. And I wonder if it is possibly the internal Sega Sonic team that previously used to make the Mario and Sonic at the Olympics games.
Oh.
But since those no longer happen, maybe that same team has been repurposed to be the internal racing. And maybe it's, I don't know, that's a complete guess. But I'm asking, do we know any more than that, or is that the lay of the land?
It's a good guess. I heard some speculation about Hard Light, but I think that's just kind of a default. Like, yeah, they do stuff.
I saw one person mention Rovio.
Yeah. They've got a
Right.
studio.
Where's the Angry Birds? Where's the Angry Birds?
Right, you could put an Angry Bird in this game. Excuse me.
Certainly in the stands. Certainly it's all Chow.
It's all Chow
in the stands.
Mm-hmm.
There is talk of a Chow Park. What do we think the Chow Park is?
You see it briefly. It looks like an amusement park, right?
Like a Disneyland.
You'll be able to interact with the Chow Park.
Right. There's advertisements in the main stadium for the locations in Frontiers, which to me, I don't know anyone who wants to visit those places because there's nothing. It's Frontiers is a sad and lonely game.
I like the idea that like once they were discovered, though, like immediately somebody came and like, no, we're gonna build an amusement park here.
That if Frontiers 2 starts on Kronos Island, but there's just a huge amusement park in the middle of it, I'm all in.
Okay, so we should spend a moment of time speculating that this will be the first narrative progression in the Sonic franchise from where Frontiers left off, because the IDW comics, which are canon, or treated as canon, or part of the canon, or whatever that means, they have not progressed past Frontiers. And so that's the furthest ahead the story's gone until that, because it's not the red and black Sage where she's evil and corrupted. It's the blue and white Sage who's good and happy and reborn. And she's driving a car that is modeled after the Titan Giganto, which is very cute.
She murdered him, gutted him, turned him into a car. That's what she did.
Yeah, I guess that's right. I guess that's lore. That's the canon.
She and Sonic murdered him.
Oh, right. Yeah. Sonic did most of it, and then she just swooped in and was like, I'm going to hollow him out and turn him into a car.
It depends on which story you saw, but yeah.
Right, that's true. Well,
they were saying with this game, too, that it was going to be across time and space, and so I was kind of like, are they going to put in Gerald? Are they going to put in Maria? Are they going to do some time traveling like characters from the past? And of course, no. But
just dinosaurs.
Just
dinosaurs and giant squids. But even all the extras are like the Sonic Forces rookie NPCs, the Operation Big Wave red shirt guys.
These are
no
the survivors.
Humans.
No.
Yeah.
I know a human is not going to go anywhere near a Dodonpa motor. Like they know.
Yeah.
They don't trust Donpa.
Everyone's there to root against Knuckles for his poor showing in Operation Big Wave.
Every pulls into the pit stop to refuse to do anything. He's just like, "What? Come on, you got to replace my tires." And they're like, "No, my best.
You can't
friend.
replace my son and my best friend." Yeah. Sorry.
80%. Oh, never forget. Hashtag. I guess we are still avoiding humans. I mean, technically, Secret Rings isn't Sonic's past. It is an alternate dimension. So I don't know what that means. Does it just mean whoever wrote 1001 Arabian Nights in Sonic's world, when they included the dinosaur chapter, it was based on actual history, and that's why it looks the same?
Consult the Jinn.
Yeah.
Should we talk about the game's mechanics? We do know some detail about like the travel rings, so I guess I'll just sort of read you a little bit of the copy that's from the PlayStation blog and the website itself. So it's going to be basically, it's what we said. It's sort of the transform. I'll just read it to you. I won't summarize it. Sonic Racing. No, I can't. It's so boring. Wait, there is a good quote. Here's a quote from Izuka, the creative officer of Sonic Team. In Sonic Racing CrossWorlds, not only did we want to introduce the innovative idea of racing through different worlds as you warp through the travel rings, but we also wanted anyone who had fun playing our previous Sonic Racing games to really enjoy this title. So we took a lot of elements from those past games and incorporated them. We included the Extreme Gear from the Sonic Riders series, as well as the Transform feature from the All-Stars Racing series, making it a great culmination of all the Sonic Racing games to date. I hope everyone really enjoys Sonic Racing CrossWorlds.
All the Sonic games to date? You mentioned 2 of them.
Yes, just those 2. Sonic R, Sonic Drift. Get out of here.
We made sure to not include the team aspect.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, no team.
Leave the teams.
No on foot.
I would take a Euro pop dance soundtrack from Sonic R. That would be good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
I would take that one shortcut in Mystic Cave in Sonic Drift 2 where you can fall through a hole and then skip a whole bunch of that stage, and then the like rubber band effect where the opponents get faster and they just start flying toward you. That's a very satisfying aspect that I hope they can recreate.
Yeah.
Smoovies from the Riders series. What are you hoping? Because in the trailer, it sort of looks like it's just like another type of vehicle, the boards, the extreme gear. But we know that there are gears and that they wanted to incorporate part of that. There is an RPG sort of element that there's more copy to read about that, the extreme gear.
RPG.
Yes, it says vehicle customization and gadgets. We've elevated the Sonic racing experience with an RPG-like gadget feature.
What does that mean?
Prior to the race, racers will be able to equip and combine gadgets that give different perks to shake up the race for more unique ways to play. Not enough items? Looking to get some extra boost? There's a gadget for those and more. Powerful gadgets require more gadget slots, so make sure you're optimizing your collection and increasing your inventory as you play through the game. As you progress, the more slots and even stronger gadgets you'll unlock to make the game that much more exciting. Selecting the perfect combination of gadgets for your gameplay style just might be the edge you need to come out in first place every time.
Mario Kart.
Yep.
Why is that? Why is car customization role playing? I don't think that's...
That all made sense except for the part where they said RPG.
Menus,
RPG
numbers.
Like gadget.
I don't know. Maybe it's like you equip this, so now you can get double the boost.
Yeah.
And they count that.
Are there random encounters?
Right. Every once in a while. One of the souls from Operation Big Wave show up, and you gotta.
And the gadgets are it's just like the boss fight from Metal Gear Solid 3, where you just have to like go through like a swamp, and it's just like all the ghosts of people that you've killed and your Knuckles. And there's also vehicle customization, which is different from the gadgets. You can mix and match parts from different vehicles, create your own custom vehicle, choose colors, decals, textures for almost every aspect, including the interior, which is from Team Sonic Racing, I guess, kind of, except. Now you can have just one car and it doesn't matter who's driving it.
Right. So anyone can drive anything, apparently.
Yeah.
And then there's a power up where you can turn into a monster truck.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Also, Omochao is a power up. So I'm assuming you won't be able to race him this time around, because Cream is back. Cream is there. The footage we see is just of everyone you expect to see. Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy, Shadow.
No Wade.
Oh.
No Tom.
Right.
King Boom Boo is in there as an attack.
Yeah.
He's wearing sunglasses.
Whoa.
Speaking of them, though, this is the first time we've had Smoovies since the movies update came out.
Oh.
What did you think? Sonic Movie 3, Smoovies.
Oh, movie
it's
3.
right in your name.
Really good. Way better than the writing in SA2. I think they did it justice and then some. The end.
What did you think of... Well, what do you think? I mean, I feel like I've danced around this question, but I don't know that you've really answered it. What do you think of the Riders coming back? What, are you like, this is the Riders have been gone. Jet the Hawk has not been seen in a video game for how long? Decades.
Too long, I suppose. Maybe it's been too long. Maybe it hasn't been.
Is it good that? I mean, there's not a lot to like hold on to here. Like we just see him in glimpses.
Yeah.
So from those glimpses, can you extrapolate a feeling and then an idea and then a thesis and then a dissertation, and then can we call it content?
No. I noticed that some boards are reappearing, like Jet's board from Riders 1 and Wave's board from Free Riders show up, but they have different colors. So I guess it's boards from previous games, but you can customize the colors. I don't know. Is that interesting?
Yeah, you're right. No, it isn't.
Where's Professor Tori? Come on.
Yeah, right. That's right. Where is Professor Tori?
Maybe she's gonna be the announcer. She'll be like, "Hello."
She's the new King Dodonpa.
Right. Well, King Dodonpa.
Does he embrace her, or what do you think Dodonpa's doing?
Oh, right. Well, I mean, he's sponsoring it. He's like, "Oh, hello, I'm still a Tanuki," but he's like, he's in charge of it. That's his voice, right?
Uh-huh.
And
yeah, that's it.
And so he's wanted to find newer, better, cooler places to race. So he gets these services of Professor Tori, and so she's getting funding to do archaeology, and he is just turning all of her research and discoveries into racetracks, which she doesn't appreciate. And then she's been forced to sit in the commentator box, and maybe occasionally Omochao was there too. She just doesn't have very good rapport with Omochao.
He's always like, press the B button. She's like, we know. Yeah.
I heard that the Don Pa received $2 billion from Saudi Arabia.
While we're doing fanfic, I have some too. In one of the screenshots for the Metal Harbor stage, you can see that the rookie avatar for the Forces characters, there's one guy there with a camera, and he's a cat. And so I think he's Spider-Man. So I think he's Peter Parker, let's say. Fuck. And yeah, he's probably Spider-Man. So
Probably.
I think Spider-Man exists in the Sonic universe. And if you want to prove me wrong, you can write us SonicWeeklyPodcast at gmail.com and tell me why Spider-Man is not possible in the Sonic universe, which supposedly takes place in a world just like our own, but with animals that don't live on the main continents. They live on islands, but they do participate in the Guardian Unit of Nations when there's races, because King Dodonpa is able to unite people around this common cause. So it makes sense. But if you don't think Spider-Man makes sense, please write to us. Anyway, it's episode 100, and as you can see, we're not even close to running out of things to talk about, because there's been other 100 milestones in the Sonic franchise, right?
That's right. Wait, before that, maybe we should hear our 100th ad by Barry.
Should we?
I don't know. I thought if we were splitting it in half.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's split it in half. Let's hear from Barry. But before we hear from Barry, let's hear from Bo.
Yeah.
What's going on with Rings of Saturn and the Sega corner of this podcast?
That's right. We've gone around the planet 100 times. Come on, Bo. What's going on?
All right, Rings of Saturn. I went really deep on a very small aspect of Nights into Dreams. There's a little Easter egg. You're playing the Splash Garden. You're going to the boss. You're fighting Puffy. You're ending that level by throwing Puffy through a wall. And sometimes a little door will open and a lamp will fall out. And why did the lamp fall out? It happens sometimes. It doesn't happen some other times. People have tried to pin down, okay, if the timer ends in 2 when you're ending the stage, then it happens most of the time. But sometimes the door opens and the lamp doesn't fall out. I have solved this definitively by looking at the game code. And now we know the exact mechanism, details on Rings of Saturn. So that's been very exciting, much more popular than the 3DO series that I have been sporadically doing.
R.I.P.
Yeah. 3DO. I got more 3DO coming.
God damn it.
But this weekend, I'm doing another thing that it doesn't feel like a Dreamcast thing to me, but it did appear on the Dreamcast. There's a Prince of Persia game for the Dreamcast. Prince of Persia, Arabian Nights.
Whoa.
Not only has Sonic experienced the Arabian Nights, so too has the Prince.
Wow.
This has maybe the funniest thing I've uncovered so far in a game, which is there's a hidden menu in here in this Prince of Persia game. And for some reason, it's all in German. So the whole game is localized in English. And this one hidden menu is in German. And it's like, option in and controller Schlosser, or however you say it in German. And the very bottom one, they just put in the text German cheat word.
Huh.
As though like, okay, later we're going to fill in however you say cheat in German. And so you go to that menu and there's like a level select and cheat like settings. And I guess they never figured out what the German word was, so they cut the menu out.
That's amazing.
I figured out how to restore it.
Wow. So now we can be German.
The German word is cheat, by the way. It's the same.
That is good. All right, that's good to know.
All right.
I wonder how many cheat codes are just like cheat, or like lorem ipsum or other placeholder text.
I will sometime do an article about like the dirty word filters that some games have. I don't think I've talked about this on the show, have I? Like a lot of games, you put your initials in when you get the high score, and they don't want, you put in sex or you put in XXX or whatever. And so they have a list of like things that might be offensive. And the lists are really funny. Like sometimes they'll go really deep on variations of one swear word and then just like leave an entire other category like with a single entry. More to come on that.
Right.
Very good. Very good.
Notice how I spelled, or, more to come on that.
More to
Oh, Peter Moore.
Oh,
2 O's and more.
2000. Man, I just think about that. The kid in an arcade. His name is what? Thomas Ithaca Tamale. He never gets to put his initials in.
Little tits.
No one has the last name Tamale. It was the only T word I could think of.
Yeah, that was offensive.
That was. Maybe we should cut that. Let me try that again. I just think about that kid in the arcade. Thomas.
Yeah, what's his name?
His name is Thomas. His middle name is Ithaca, and his last name is Tarantula. And he just never gets to put his initials in an arcade.
Yeah.
Poor
little tit.
Poor
little tit.
Super runabout on Sega Dreamcast. If
Yeah.
you put in PSX, it changes it to DC.
Oh, that's funny.
And if you do N64, it
Mhm.
changes it to DC. They know what's up.
They do. Oh, that I have a sealed copy of that Prince of Persia game on the Dreamcast.
Oh yeah, Arabian
It's
Nights. You never
sealed,
opened it?
never cracked open. Yeah. So if
It's not
anyone,
very good.
oh well, then it's a good thing I've never opened it. If anyone wants it and they want to spend, they want to give me what, 10 grand? Yeah, email. That's how much sealed games go for these days.
SonicWeeklyPodcast at gmail.com. Okay, well, we'll check in with Barry.
Hey, Sonic Weekly listeners. Barry from SegaBits here to tell you about a podcast that you might enjoy. On the latest Sega Talk podcast, George and I look back at Sega's many attempts at theme parks. What worked, what didn't, and what could Sega do in the future to make a Sega or Sonic theme park a reality? Watch or listen at youtube.com/SegaBits or search SegaBits on your podcatcher of choice.
Right. If Barry's last name was Tarantula, he would.
Smoovies cut that out.
Keep that in. Smoovies saying Smoovies cut that out. It's the universe kissing itself.
Right. You should have that play at the beginning of the episode. Just Smoovies, cut that out. You're like, oh, wait.
Okay, so it is episode 100, and listen, we're guys, we're men. We're a little embarrassed when you bring up our birthdays. We don't too much attention. I get a little uncomfortable. A little attention, sure, yeah. I mean, we're putting on a show every week, but you want a whole special to do blah because if it's episode 100, I don't know. Maybe it's just a normal episode. Haha, just kidding. We're gonna look at some 100 celebration things in the comics, the cartoons. I didn't do any research, but I know for sure David and Smoovies did.
Oh, I watched some cartoons, if that counts as research.
That's right. I also
Yes.
watched some cartoons, the 2 cartoons that I said, I guess this is what we're going to watch. And I also read 2 comic books. And I listened to a 4-minute compilation of Extra Life jingles, which that's also roughly 100, right?
Yeah, I'm excited to learn. And Jack also told us that one of the recent games is probably, depending on your count, the 100th Sonic game.
Right. Like, I guess it's hard to say what you would count, because if you're going strictly mainline, we're not there.
You're right.
But if you're including all the spin-offs,
Right.
I think we would be. But are you counting like all the mobile games, and how do you parse that?
I asked him, and he said it's very inconsistent. You have to count some remasters and not others. You have to count some compilations, but not all of them.
Right.
You have to be extremely inconsistent to argue that it's 100. So
How about games where Azuka is credited plus Sonic 1, 2, and CD?
Okay.
That's probably in the 50s. I don't know. Let's see.
Right. Like, his name isn't in Unleashed.
Oh, it's not at all.
No, I think he gets a
Oh, he was. Yeah.
or is it a special? He gets a special thanks, I think, in 06, which means they probably asked him one question. And he went, yeah, but don't have Sonic kiss the girl. And they were like, what? We already rendered that. And
Well, just on Moby Games, he's credited on 89 games, but
Wow.
Okay.
it only goes up
Yeah.
to Sonic X Shadow Generations. So 90, I guess, would be CrossWorlds. And some of them are like special thanks. Penny's Big Breakaway gets a special thanks.
He does have Golden Axe 3 on his
He gets
list also. You got to subtract that.
oh,
Mm.
Choo Choo Rocket,
Mm.
right.
Knight's Journey of Dreams.
Right. So you're extending outside of Sonic, because if you were like, oh, what's the 100th Sega game? Well, it's probably before Sonic.
It probably happened in 1986. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's go back to the things that we do know that are 100.
Yeah.
Which are the things that David brought.
I've got one you guys didn't think of though.
Oh yeah.
My favorite 100 thing for Sonic, Hunted P, his rap lyric from Sonic Adventure 2. There's so many good ones.
Of course.
That's right. He is.
There you are. Come here, little thief. Think you can fly away quick? Give up the emerald or die. I don't love you.
I have a Smoovies story for you, but I think his like first official interview with any Sonic fan was with my charity group, the Charity Room.
Yeah.
We pulled him in and we interviewed him, and he had never really like thought that much about the Knuckles raps, but we just kept like, I don't know, we to us he was a celebrity, so we're just kind of like, oh, it's so good, it's so good, it's so good. It was after that he kind of started going crazy on Twitter saying my shit's so good, it's so good. It's like, oh god, I feel partly responsible for his behavior.
You gassed him up too much.
I think we did.
That's why he wanted to sue Arby's that one time. It all comes back to here and now. But he is 100 P. He's 100%, which I will say at the time did not realize that's what that meant. I was like, hunted, okay, 100 P.
Weird name.
Yeah.
Moving on. Hunted. Maybe like I don't know.
Right.
Who knows?
Is that his mother's maiden name?
Yeah, probably. Must be Hungarian. Not my area of expertise. What's this over here? A bird.
That's right. Now, Sonic, you would think there'd be a lot of hundreds, but you know what?
Not that many.
There aren't that many.
There's like 5.
Yeah, I guess it's because video games take a while to come out. It's the 34th anniversaries coming up, but even if it's like 2 games a year, 3 games a year, you're not there yet. Okay, well, I guess the first 100 thing would have been Sonic Underground, right?
Yay!
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Now here
Sonic Underground.
Now here's why I say Sonic Underground, because there aren't 100 episodes of Sonic Underground. I was like,
Right.
okay, so Deke animation.
I see.
It's like, they did the 65 episodes of AOSTH, 26 of SetAM, the Christmas special, and then they moved on to Underground. So this doesn't count the AOSTH pilot. Sorry if someone wants to be a stickler about that. And then I was like, oh, so what production number would equal the 100th Deke animated production? And that got us to aired episode 107, which is production number 408, because the 4 stands for the fourth
show.
4th season?
Yeah, because AOSTH is 1, and then the SatAM is 2.
It's 2.
And season
Christmas
2 is
special 3.
No, season 2 is 3, and then Underground is 4. Except the SatAM pilot is 010. Like that's how the production numbers work. It's very, because it's all just Sonic to them, I guess.
Yeah.
And that gave us the episode, The Deepest Fear. I'll just say the 4 things. These are the 4 things, right? It's Sonic Underground, The Deepest Fear. The episode Don't Make Me Angry from Sonic Boom, because there were 104 episodes of that. And then the 100th issue of Archie and Sonic the Comic. Those are the 4 big 100s. Smoovies, how did you like Underground?
Okay. Sonic Underground. They find out that Moby Deep is real. The not Moby Dick, it's Moby Deep, which that's so much more kid friendly, I suppose. I don't know. He's real, and people think he's causing havoc. Turns out he's not causing any havoc. But Dr. Robotnik has a submarine shaped like Moby Dick or Moby Deep to cause havoc. But Robotnik is also promising to stop Moby Deep at the same time. So I guess he's pulling like a syndrome from The Incredibles.
That's right. It had a. Did you like it?
No, it was terrible. Sonic learns to conquer his fear of water.
Sort of.
Would you like to revisit the song from that episode?
Sure.
Yeah, play the song.
You've got to face your fear or stop it.
Oh yeah, that one.
Keep your head in the sand or run from it. Show what you're afraid of, exactly what you're made of. Just take a big deep breath and face your fear.
They always have good sound effects in those. Like you can really hear Sonic blasting off.
I feel like he could have done fair. I feel like he wanted to go like a little more vaudevillian with that.
I do feel like there's a cane like yanking him off the stage.
Yeah.
You gotta be jump here.
That was definitely Michigan J Frog worthy.
That might be one of the worst songs in that show. I'll just say that right now.
Ooh.
We don't share the video that we recorded with, but when the song started playing, everybody that's on camera immediately hit their forehead with their hand. The palms went to the forehead immediately. Of just like, oh, how did I put myself in a situation to get here?
It is not a good song, and it also is a terrible way to resolve the episode, because the whole thing is there's a submarine and it's going to attack the ship called the Queen Alina, and it takes halfway through the episode before Sleet and Dingo go, oh, he's probably the owner of the ship called the Queen Alina, must be part of the resistance, because he has a ship named after the deposed queen
monarch.
Yeah, like of course it's him. What are you talking about? And they're like, we'll sing to get the submarine to come up from the water, and it works. But if they're underwater, shouldn't be able to hear anything that they're playing. Like, that's not how it works. That's not how sound travels.
I hope someone went asunder for that blunder. That episode came out January 27th, 1999. Can you believe that? Just mere months before Sonic Adventure would come ashore. This is what was poisoning children.
What? January? That doesn't sound right. What are you talking about?
Well, according the Sonic Underground Face Your
Sounds
Fear.
right to me.
Oh,
27th January 1999 is when that episode debuted. Because Sonic Underground was 99.
Yeah.
Right, but Sonic Underground premiered.
Oh.
Is that the French date?
Oh, it might be the French date. It just says debut.
Yes, it aired in France first before it aired in the United States.
Well, no, I mean, Grant is a sophisticate. I think he would, of course, choose the French original.
That's right, because we had to get reports on the internet, like what's going on in France. What is this about? Where it was Sonic la Rebelle, as Antoine would have said, not in the series. Underground. That is not the. If you want to watch Underground, you probably shouldn't start with that episode, because you won't continue. I think
you want the one with the really poorly drawn Knuckles.
Yeah.
There's frames where Sonic's arms are blue.
I had so much experience drawing Sonic. Like, what are you doing?
There's also moments where, like, because I guess they were told by Sega at some point, don't give him a mohawk, give him the full spines. But there's times where they give up and he just has the mohawk. You can tell because of how it is. But the series, he does have 5 fingers.
Oh.
Yes, they made sure.
He mutated.
So my big question, the thing that I think I was most excited to hear about is like, what about the comics? The issue 100, Archie was in particular, I know, was always very, they always made a big deal about their anniversary issues, right?
Mm-hmm.
Issue 25 was Sonic CD, issue 50, Dr. Robotnik Endgame, issue 75, Dr. Eggman Returns.
Mm-hmm.
But what happens in issue 100? Because I remember the old internet. I remember the old AOL chat rooms, and I remember old Ken Pender saying in issue 100, not only were Bunny and Antoine going to get married, but we were going to find out Sonic's full legal name. Do any of those things happen in issue 100?
No.
Oh.
Maurice Ogilvy.
It is Ogilvy.
Ogilvy, Maurice
right.
Hedgehog.
Now, Smoovies.
But also 100. He's later. Doesn't Ken Penders also claim that what he wanted to be in issue 100 got shifted because of some other reason?
Yeah. What ended up happening is Sega went, "Hey, you need to do a Sonic Adventure 2 adaptation." They were not going to do what they did with Sonic Adventure, which was devote like 7 months of their time to it. So instead, 98 is an adaptation of like the beginning of Sonic Adventure 2, introduces Shadow. We see the city escape chase, it's whatever. And then they're like, play the game to find out the rest. And they don't actually adapt the rest of the game until the first arc in Sonic Universe, when Ian, years later after Ian Flynn took over. 99, 100, and 101, I guess, sort of form a loose trilogy of something, and the things that were meant to happen in 100 end up being pushed over to 101, but they still have to make 100 feel important. And I sat down and read 100 by itself. Issue 99, there's a miscommunication where Sally thinks Sonic and Mina are making out, but they're not. And then Sally gets the sword. There's a scene that echoes Endgame where Sally falls, and it looks like it's to her death, but she doesn't die because the Sword of Acorns saved her, I guess.
That's usually what happens when you fall with a sword.
Right.
It saves you.
Yeah, and then Robotnik. Oh, and then like there's a spider character that dies from radiation. And I'm like, I don't remember this happening, but I guess they're dead. And then Robotnik tries to seal Sonic under a dome. Oh no, wait, or is that what happens at the end of 101? Oh my God, it's all.
That also sounds like what happens in issue 20. That sounds like some goofy old, like Michael Gallagher style plots. He wants to trap him in a giant glass dome.
He wants to trap them in a giant glass dome, which I guess that actually Nate Morgan turns off the dome, and so he sacrifices himself, and he presumably gets roboticized because Eggman now can roboticize people by touching them. But I guess the big thing that was meant to shock everyone is the fact that Knuckles teams up with the Dark Legion. And Dimitri shouts, "Welcome to the dark side," even though a page before he's like, "We're not really evil." But then he screams, "I am evil." This is the era when Knuckles was green. And it also tells us what happened to Tobor, who is one of the many echidnas from the past who had disappeared and was replaced with a fake version of himself. And in this short, he appears and immediately dies, and then we get to see him ascend to heaven while Knuckles asks the Dark Legion to bring back everyone who disappeared in Super Special 14. And basically, a lot of nothing happens in this issue. The other three milestones are way better, and 100 and 100 feels like a big waste, a big drop off.
This goes back to what I said previously, which is anything you tell me about late Archie, I would believe because it all sounds equally plausible.
That's mid Archie though.
It is.
Yeah, I would say this is still relatively early Archie, but I will mid. Okay, fine, mid Archie. But listen, the cover looks like crap. I'm sorry to say, it's not the best work from our fan favorite Patrick Spaziante, because Antoine looks like he's really stealing the show with his awesome sword there, and then Sonic is kind of looking a little too much like Perfect Chaos. I don't remember this issue, and I didn't read it. Sadly, I didn't. But there's a character named Professor Cheddarmund. What the fuck? What?
I don't remember. I read this.
Oh, okay. Maybe this is just a Wikipedia thing.
Kodos is in it, and I think he dies. Sorry. And then who's the professor? There's a guy at the very beginning who gets roboticized.
Yeah, that's Professor Cheddarmund.
He has a name?
Cheddarmund.
Okay. Wow, I don't remember that.
Wow.
Right, he's like, "Oh, please, I beg of you, I have kids." And Robotnik says, "Somehow, I just can't seem to care." And then touches him, and he turns into a robot, but he keeps his glasses on.
Yes.
And I'm pretty sure he ends up dying because when Robotropolis does get atomized at some point, it explodes, and all the roboticized humans die.
According to the Wikipedia page, sonic.fandom.com wiki, Professor Cheddarmund, his powers and abilities include he appears to have limited knowledge of astrophysics and computing. 2 sources.
Wow.
Same as me.
Wow, you're a professor. This isn't what you would be if you lived in the Archieverse. You would have been roboticized because you said I have
limited knowledge of these things.
Right, and you do have kids, so that's what you would say to Robotnik before he touches you.
So I'm looking at the pencils of this cover, and whoever did the inks on this really screwed. Spaz.
Like the shading is strange, I think, as well. Like the coloring, I'm not into it.
The pencils are way better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll leave Fleetway for the end because no one remembers that. Smoovies, how did you enjoy Sonic Boom, episode 100?
It was so good and so funny. Oh man. It was the best.
That's a weird episode.
I watched it and I said, "That's good." Robotnik turns himself into through. Okay, what? How does he? It's Eggman, not Robotnik.
That's right.
He
purple rays
gets inspiration from a comic book to. I forget why though. Do you remember why, David? He invents this purple ray that turns him into a cute little adorable creature whenever he gets too mad.
Yeah, he's trying to turn into, I guess, a parody of the Incredible Hulk, but because comics aren't accurate representations of science. He instead just becomes a weird purple dragon thing.
You can't tell what it is. It's just a thing.
It is just a thing. Oh, right. It was written by Benoit Grenier. I probably should have said that, right? Should we credit people?
French it up a little bit, yeah.
I think, as usual, the writing is really funny, but as also usual, like you can tell it's on a budget, and that some things don't translate well to the animation, or the director just didn't understand how to make that joke humorous. Or the writing is always top notch in Sonic Boom.
It's kind of that Eggman is embarrassed that he's screwed this up too, and then like they're making fun of him and making him upset, and then he turns into the little purple guy, right?
Right. So whenever he gets upset, he turns purple, and so he needs to not get upset. So Amy teaches him how to meditate or something, and then he reaches a point of purity, but then he has to get mad because the one girl who let him borrow her library card, falls down a garbage chute, and she's about to get crushed to death. And I guess because Eggman isn't really evil, and he's like, I don't want you to die. Why his garbage chute is right next to him all the time, I don't know. But
is that the little girl who says, Mr. You Betcha?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's this funny bit where Cubot tries to go down, or I think maybe Robotnik's trying to shove Cubot down this circle hole. But like that was a missed opportunity. Like he could have like looked at Orbot and then Cubot and then chose Cubot to shove him down. Like he didn't do the looking back and forth. He just goes straight for Cubot. I'm like, oh man.
Right. Or it would have been funny if Cubot went down there and is like, well, now I'm stuck. How am I supposed to get out? It's funny.
It's a mid-tier Boom episode,
right? It works. It's serviceable. It certainly does not acknowledge the fact it's episode 100. I mean, Underground wasn't going to acknowledge it because they weren't even thinking like this is a 100th episode. They're like, this is a new something. Archie tried, but they stumbled. So I'm afraid, because none of us lived in the UK. Sonic the Comic is probably the one thing that stuck the landing when it came to the 100th anything.
Oh, good. At least one thing did.
I'm glad they did, because otherwise it would be up to us, and I'm not sure if we're doing it.
Right. I was going to say, yeah, I guess we're number 2 behind Sonic the Comic. Maybe Sonic the Comic, the podcast, has already done 100th episode, probably.
Yeah.
But either way, we're in the top 3.
Right.
As rough as this episode has been, as pointless as this episode has been, we are still doing better than the Archie issue 100.
That's right, because Sonic the Comic, it's the final victory. For anyone who's read Sonic the Comic, you know that there's usually 3 to 4 stories in there. They're all like roughly 7 pages long, and you might have multi-part stories, but they're in multiple issues. This was the first time they told one story throughout the entire book.
Oh.
The writing duties were split between Nigel Kitching and Lou Stringer, who they were the main writers on the book. You have your main artists doing stuff, and it's basically kind of what 50 did for Archie, which is this is the issue where Robotnik is finally overthrown. And it does clear up some other things that had been happening in the comic. Supersonic returns, but then is immediately neutralized. You have Knuckles defeating Dr. Zachary, and the Egg Citadel, which was Eggman or Robotnik's home base, it explodes, and Robotnik's like, I need to exact my revenge on these people. It still reads a little fast to me because it's like, but I think that's just the nature of UK comics, at least in that form. But a lot of things happen.
Okay.
It looks good. It's nice. Like,
all right.
It works. I'm sure the Sonic the Comic people will be like, oh, this was the greatest thing in the world. Maybe I'm sure they talked about it in their episode, which I haven't listened to. Sorry. I haven't gotten there. But in terms of 100s of the 4 things, it's that one.
Yeah.
That one is
okay.
Because it's a whole story and it makes sense. You understand the beginning, middle, and ending, and it's more rewarding, I'm sure, if you've been reading the book the whole time, but even by itself, you kind of get the sense of what's happening. And there's no song in it. You gotta face your fears. Oh, right. That episode was written by Michael Edens and Mark Edens. Did not say that to you, the viewing audience.
Both Edens.
Don't yell at them. They were just getting paid in the 90s.
I think the Sonic, maybe the Sonic ethos isn't about 100s too much. But what do you think? What about Sonic's 100th anniversary?
2091.
Yeah, in 2091, we're how many years away are we? 70? No, 65. It's fine.
We got a while. We got a while to go. Are we still going to be doing the show in 2091?
I'm going to take 2073 off, but I'll be back by that.
Yeah, I actually have a thing in 2089 that I can't. I've already moved it 3 times, but
okay.
But otherwise, yeah.
But it sounds like in 2091 we're free. Yeah,
yeah, I can do
that's good. You know,
I'm down the other years.
We will be here, and if not, somebody's gonna have to release it. We're gonna, Bo, your children will come together and be like, we got it.
How can we honor our father?
Right.
Well, this is what he would want us to do.
This is what he would want.
Okay. Well, we're not going to go for 100 minutes in the 100th episode. This seems like a very fine place to dismount, so we'll just play the music.
Oh, wow. That's it. No final thoughts. No.
I mean, what other final thoughts do you want?
I don't know.
We could say final thoughts over the music, I guess.
Right. Well, you know.
All right, fine. I'll turn the music off.
Well, look, because I said that's what I thought was the best 100.
Well, I think who's going to argue with it?
I don't know.
Who's going to go to bat for?
Maybe Smoovies really wants to fight for Underground.
All right. I didn't assume so. Smoovies, do you want to fight for Underground?
Yes, and
no. See, yes, and sometimes you could say no. You just got to accept the concept.
Right. Well, you know, we don't always have Smoovies on here. I was just wondering if he had any final thoughts, because we've talked 100 times, but he's heard us way more.
Smoovies, what do you think?
No, I don't think Underground is the best. Sonic the Comic.
Why not?
It might be the worst episode in the series.
Do you think it's the worst episode of television?
It's up there. What's up with the Underground lyrics? Like the opening though. Like, why does Mom say to act too soon would seal their fate? What is she doing?
Yeah, it's unclear why that would happen.
I think it just rhymes with whatever they needed. What do they rhyme fate with?
I think they rhyme it with fate, right? A seer warns of a deadly fate.
Right.
But it's like implied that
I think you're right.
I think
you rhyme fate with fate.
it's implied that she is doing something though, because the ship that arrives for Sonic in that episode arrives because it's implied that Alina sends the ship for them because
right. The ship captain, who is a sponge, I guess. He's like, oh, it's a good thing you were here to help. And they're like, but we thought you sent for us. But they hadn't. They heard a rumor that Queen Alina was there. And she wasn't. It was the ship. But the rumor, I guess, was presumably started by Queen Alina. My assumption is that if she were to appear too soon, that her children would not be ready to engage in the final battle. Like there would just be some sort of like, oh, you're not ready, you're not prepared. The first couple canonical episodes, like if you start from the beginning, which is actually the middle episodes, but it doesn't matter. It is like they don't know how to work together as a team. They need to train. They need to learn how to trust each other, trust themselves, trust their musical weapons. And I think there's supposed to be this journey of self-discovery until they hit a point where they are this perfect unit of 3. And then the mother could show up. But if she showed up too soon, maybe they would defer to her too much. And it's like, maybe you shouldn't listen to her because she let Robotnik just steamroll her really quick. She just sat there. What did she do? She went into hiding, gave her children to 3 different people. Not one of them didn't even get the kid because a criminal stole the baby. And then right. And then the people who were raising Sonic, they get captured and roboticized. Then he runs off to his Uncle Chuck, who then also eventually gets kidnapped and roboticized. So Sonic's been through 2 horrific.
The seer seems kind of blind.
Right. But we do see Sonic cry as a kid. He does cry when his adoptive dad and mom get roboticized. He's like, eh. So I think it is just you're not ready, and if I show up too soon and we try to take on Robotnik together, we will fail. So we have to wait, because
I think Queen Alina, as far as mothers go, is like Knuckles as far as generals go. I think Operation Big Wave is what Queen Alina was calling getting rid of her children. She was sending them down the big wave, down the river to various different homes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should just turn this into a Sonic Underground podcast.
I just don't think she's a good mom. I'm sorry. I am sorry. But Queen Alina, the fictional Sonic the Hedgehog mom from Sonic Underground, I just don't think she's
No.
Yeah.
I
don't think she's the mother that we should aspire to as a society. I'll go there. I'll make that claim. I'll be that bold.
Yep.
Smoothies, should we wrap it up? What do you think?
Yeah.
Okay. Pressing the button.
You're pressing the button.
Pressing the Dave.
Right. I guess it was
Pressing the David.
like, I don't know if we just have thoughts in general about us doing 100 episodes, us being a little sentimental.
Yeah, sure. I mean, what do you want to
I don't.
Stop the music second time.
I was like, we could do that, but if not,
Yeah.
I'll just do the end.
Okay, fine.
Boy, 100 episodes. I'm just so happy to be talking about Sonic with friends.
Yeah, that's it. I feel the same.
I gotta agree. It's a good time. It's a good time to be able to sit down and talk Sonic with friends. We don't really talk about Sonic and friends, but we love talking about Sonic with friends. And if you like Sonic and you have friends, you can talk about Sonic with those friends too. Why not? If you're sitting at a wedding and somebody's about to say I do, you should recreate that scene from Sonic 2, the film, interrupt it, throw the ring, and then tell everyone sitting in wherever they're getting married, be it if it's a church, if it's on the beach, if it's on the Empire State Building, just shout at them and say, you should subscribe to Sonic Weekly. That's right, it comes out once a week and they talk about Sonic the Hedgehog. And you should subscribe using your podcatcher of choice, be it Apple Podcasts, be it Spotify, or for the Android faithful, and there will be some Android faithfuls in that audience, you gotta download Podcast Addict. Oh, yeah. You can give it a rating and a review in whatever app you're using, but if you reject all podcatchers, we are also over at YouTube. That's at Sonic-Weekly. Like, comment, and subscribe. And what joins the dulcet tones of 100 episodes of Sonic Weekly? Why, that's gameplay footage recorded by friend of the show, jackofoldgames. Thanks, Jack. And hey, if you want to reach out to the show, put on your cool shades, be like, yeah, we're doing this. Email us, sonicweeklypodcast@gmail.com. Let us know what you think. Let us know how you're doing. We do a mailbag segment, not this time, but other times. And if you email us and you want our Discord link, ask for it. And you'll join our Discord community where you can talk to like-minded Sonic the Hedgehog fans about many things up to and including Sonic T. Hedgehog. If you've enjoyed all 100 episodes, or if you've enjoyed 5 of these episodes, and you feel the urge to support the show financially, monetarily, we are also over at Ko-fi. We're just Sonic Weekly there. You can throw in something in the tip jar or become one of our executive producers for $5 a month, where you can get some fancy goodies from wife of the Grant Ashlyn, just like PigDan, Pabsy, Sonikku, SavingThrows, Cal, Belgarion, and AltSynth. Gotta thank Smoovies for being here, and also for the edit. Thank you, Smoovies, for cutting out most of this show. Gotta thank you, the viewing audience, listening audience. But I always have to thank Bo, and I always have to thank Grant, because that's what we're doing here. We're talking Sonic with friends, and thank you for being friends and being Sonic and wearing shades.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. Goodbye.